What are carbohydrates? Classify on the basis of structure. Explain the role of following carbohydrates in health and diseases. So, first of all, you should see the strategy that how to write the answer of this question. तो देखिए इसमें आपके पास सबसे पहले तो मेन हेडिंग आ जाएगी कार्बोहाइड्रेट की, फिर साइड हेडिंग डेफिनेशन की आएगी, तो जरा बेहतर हो जाएगा, वरना आप डायरेक्ट भी डेफिनेशन लिख सकते हैं वाजे करके। फिर सेकंड मेन हेडिंग आ जाएगी क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स की, और फिर उसकी साइड हेडिंग्स में जो डिफरेंट क्लासेस ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स है, मोनोसेक्राइड, डाइसेक्राइड, ओलिगोसेक्राइड एंड पॉलीसेक्राइड, ये आ जाएगी। और थर्ड मेन हेडिंग आ जाएगी रोल ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट, और फिर इसकी सब हेडिंग में यही फ्रक्टोज और ग्लूकोज आ जाएगा। तो डेफिनेशन ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट, कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स आर polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketones. Polyhydroxy means there are many hydroxyl groups and other substances which on hydrolysis produce such compounds. It means if they are not itself polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketones, so ultimately they will release on hydrolysis such compounds. For example, starch and others. Example of carbohydrates are glucose, fructose, sucrose, starch, glycogen, cellulose, and so many other examples are there. So now you can see this is the open chain structure. In this open chain structure, you can see that glucose molecule is this, and there are one, two, three, four, five hydroxy group, and this is the aldehyde group, and these are the hydroxy group. If you remember, then these hydroxy groups are the secondary alcohol group, while this one is the primary alcohol group. And this is a glucose which contain aldehyde. So it is a polyhydroxyaldehyde, and generally such monosaccharides are called aldoses. But this term is not included in our syllabus. And now this is fructose. This is a polyhydroxy ketone. And in this molecule, this OH and this OH, this is the primary alcohol group, while these three are secondary alcohol groups, and this is the ketone. So this is the structure of fructose, open chain structure of fructose. Now the types of carbohydrates. On the basis of structure, carbohydrates are classified into the following groups: monosaccharide, disaccharide, oligosaccharide, and polysaccharide. In some of the books, disaccharide is the part of the oligosaccharide. Even in our previous secondary chemistry book, it was included in the oligosaccharide, disaccharide. So at that time, the definition of oligosaccharide was that a type of carbohydrate that comprises 2 to 10 monosaccharide units. Anyway, now we will see individually. Next slide. So monosaccharides are the carbohydrates comprise single sugar unit, which are unhydrolyzable because these are the single sugar units, so they cannot be hydrolyzed into further simpler form. Examples are glucose, fructose, galactose, mannose, and so many others. Class Monosaccharide can also be classified on the basis of number of carbon atoms. Previously, we have seen that glucose and fructose has 6 carbon atoms in previous slide. Now see, they start from the 3 carbon atom monosaccharides, that is glyceraldehyde and the dihydroxyacetone. Tetros, tetros are example erythrose and erythrolose. When the term ulose is there, these are the ketoses where these are the polyhydroxy ketones, and OSE are generally aldoses. Pentoses, ribose, ribulose, and deoxyribose. Students of pre-medical, they know about ribose and deoxyribose and their use very well in DNA and RNA. Hexose, hexoses are monosaccharide containing six carbon atoms. So glucose, galactose, fructose, these are the six carbon containing monosaccharides. And now the disaccharide, these are the carbohydrates which comprises two sugar units and give two monosaccharide units on hydrolysis. Definitely if they have two sugar units, so they can be hydrolyzed. Examples are sucrose, lactose, maltose. These are the very common examples. And this is the structure of sucrose molecule. This is the ring form of the fructose, and this is the ring form of glucose. So they are bonded together through this linkage that is called glycosidic linkage. Glycosidic linkage is a separate topic that we will not include here. Or for the safe side, if you want to add it here, it's up to you. You can do this. The next class is the oligosaccharide. Oligosaccharide are the carbohydrates that comprises 3 to 10 sugar units. So it is understood that on hydrolysis, they yield 3 to 10 monosaccharide units. And we have two examples of the three monosaccharide unit containing oligosaccharide, although there are some more which contain 4, 5, or 7 monosaccharide units. So these are included in our book. Castrose. Castrose is a oligosaccharide that comprises in this sequence the fructose is joined with fructose, another fructose, and then glucose. The type of linkage between these molecules is not the part of our syllabus, so leave it. And malazitose is glucose, fructose, and glucose. So here in between the two glucose unit, fructose is there. Now the polysaccharides. Polysaccharide, the word poly emphasizes that poly means many. So there are many many monosaccharide unit in a polysaccharide. And these are the macrobiomolecule, for example, is starch and glycogen, cellulose, which comprises more than 10 monosaccharide units. These are amorphous. Amorphous means non-crystalline, while the monosaccharide and disaccharides are generally crystalline and insoluble in water, or you can say the partially soluble in water. Some of them are completely insoluble. For example, cellulose is completely insoluble, but starch is partially soluble and it forms a suspension. Examples: starch, it is a branched carbohydrate, branched polysaccharide. It comprises glucose units in a specific pattern. They join together, and the source is plants. Cellulose is unbranched polysaccharide. It also comprises of glucose unit, but the bonding between two glucose unit is different. And the source is again plants. Cell wall of the plant cells composed of cellulose. Glycogen is also branched, but and it has almost the similar structure of the starch, but it is more condensed than the starch. And the sources of glycogen are animals. Our liver store glucose in the form of glycogen in liver, and glycogen is also synthesized in our muscles uh, for its different types of metabolism. Now, the role of carbohydrate in health and diseases, and we are asked to answer about the two of the carbohydrate, which are glucose and fructose. So, see what is the advantage of glucose. It is the simple sugar and essential component of our blood. Why it is essential? Because it provides us energy for for respiration in cells. Although respiration also required oxygen, but the oxygen is as uh, oxidant for respiration. But the main thing that provides us energy is glucose. So glucose is the main um, carbohydrate that provide energy to our tissues. So the metabolism of glucose provides us energy for our essential functions. The normal range of glucose in blood is 70 to 110 milligram per thousand deciliter. If the glucose level exceeds this range, it shows diabetes, which can be managed through insulin or other medicines. Fructose. Fructose is a simple and the sweetest sugar. It is the sweetest sugar among all the carbohydrate. It is found in many fruits as well as in honey. Its main function is to provide energy during metabolism. But remember that in the book they have written this, but the main source of energy is the glucose. So fructose ultimately convert into glucose and provide as energy. So for metabolism, and what is metabolism? Metabolism are the reactions in the living body. And the high intake of fructose is associated with weight gain and obesity.